Nature is amazing. We've gotten used to the idea that unexplored places like the Amazon rainforest have lots of previously undiscovered species, and some of those have been very useful to us in making medicines. What is more amazing is that animals themselves have all sorts of microorganisms living on and inside them, sort of mini ecosystems, every bit as complicated as the Amazon. Each animal species, and humans too, has a different ecosystem of bugs living inside them, and many of these are unknown to science. Many branches of science are interested in bacteria because they've produced some very useful inventions: antibiotics to treat infections, fermenting strains for making wine and cheese. There are even bacteria that can clean up oil spills and toxic waste. But we've become interested in a group of bacteria called exoelectrogens. Wow, let's call them e-bugs for short. These are bacteria that actually produce electricity as a byproduct of their normal lives. Engineers have become very excited about the possibilities of harnessing them for energy production. They grow and study them in devices called microbial fuel cells. We were especially interested to find out that some of the places that engineers find these bacteria are in our waste and sewage sludge. Why? Because that's where the poo is, and that's what we study. Well, actually, in polite company, we call it the gut microbiota. We study how the gut bugs affect health and disease, and we wondered whether the poo from mice we'd been studying could also make electricity. So we built a sort of microbial fuel cell, put in some mouse poo, hooked up a machine that could measure if it produced electricity, and guess what? It did. And since we know that each animal species has a different ecosystem of microorganisms on the inside, which come outside in their poo, the engineers may have a lot more places to look for new ones. So maybe they'll be even more excited, if they're not too squeamish. We have been looking closely at these electricity-producing bacteria too, not to light our cities, but to understand what they might be doing inside us and other animals. After all, what on earth could be the function of electric poo? We looked more closely at our mice and found that some, but strangely not all of them, had these e-bugs, so we wondered how they were different. We discovered that mice with e-bugs had a much more diverse and well-developed ecosystem of microorganisms than the mice without them. More than that, the mice with e-bugs also had way more immune cells in their guts, and that means a better developed immune system, which is important for good health. So we did an experiment to see if the e-bugs actually caused the increase in immune cells. We took some genetically identical mice, took some of the e-bugs from the mice that had the diverse electric ecosystem, and gave them to the mice whose guts had the sparse, non-electric ecosystem. And guess what? Those mice then started to have more immune cells in their gut. The e-bugs make it happen. But how? Immune cells usually find their way to the gut by following chemical cues, a process called chemotaxis. We thought for sure that we would find more immune cell-attracting chemicals in the mice that had electric poo, but we didn't. Immune cells have also recently been found to be able to sense electric fields and move towards them, a process called electrotaxis. So we've started wondering if the immune cells might somehow be responding to the electricity in the poo. This story is just beginning. Now, because we understand that these little electrically active microorganisms play a part in keeping animals, and probably us, healthy, we can start to explore all sorts of new and exciting ways to use them. It just goes to show, you should never poo-poo a pile of poo.